Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Skills and Abilities. Today we're going to be looking at an aura that was specifically requested by one of my viewers, and that is Redemption. I plan to do every single ability anyway, but I figure, you know, if you guys want to do requests, you're more than welcome to. Now, to get to Redemption, you're going to have to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. You can, of course, also get this on a skill, like, for instance, if you had a very nice weapon or something like that, like, for instance, maybe a Paladin-only weapon that had plus to Redemption or something like that. But to get access to Redemption, you're going to have to at least put a couple points in or find a good weapon that has it. There is also a shield in the game that has access to Redemption. It is called Phoenix. It is the Phoenix rune word. If you'd like to take a look at the Phoenix rune word, I do have that up on my my YouTube channel already, so you can take a look, and I talk all about Phoenix. But this video is specifically about the aura Redemption. Now, Redemption is an interesting ability. It's certainly not one that you would want to keep on all the time, and it can definitely be one that, quite honestly, might be a terrible idea to have in a group setting. And as we go over it, I think you'll understand why specifically it's not the best ability to have on 24 hours a day. But the first thing we're going to do, though, is we're just going to take a look at what Redemption does so that you guys can get an idea. So the first thing we got to do is we got to go kill a bunch of monsters. Redemption is not an ability that has any kind of active effect, which means that if you're not actually doing anything, if you don't actually kill anything, then, well, you get nothing. So things have to die. When they die, they have to leave behind a corpse. This is also very important. If there is no corpse, you cannot do anything. And what Redemption does is it sucks up the corpse and allows you to restore health and mana based upon the corpse. So as you can see here, we have current skill level 8, radius at 10.6 yards, so it has a rather large radius. Chance to redeem the soul, 65%. Life and mana recovered, 60. So not a particularly large amount of life and mana recovered per body. And I just realized my weapon was almost broken. Always nice. I think I pulled a Imperius. I don't know if you ever watched the cutscene where Imperius dies, but his weapon breaks, and that's the whole reason why he dies. It's because his weapon didn't have good durability. Pretty hilarious, honestly. Now, if a monster dies and does not leave a corpse, Redemption will not work. If I switch off of Redemption, for instance, you'll notice that these two corpses right here have absolutely no effect. So I have to actually switch to Redemption, and usually you have to wait a second or two before the ability will suck up the corpses. And of course, when it sucks up the corpses, it will give you the equivalent mana and life. Now, you can, of course, beef Redemption up if you would want to. You could go all the way up to level 20 with plus the skills, and I'm at level 27 now. And as you can see, it's chance to redeem soul 91%, life and mana recovered per soul 155. So we've got even more life and mana restored per soul. Now, you wouldn't normally utilize Redemption as your main ability. So you would probably have some other kind of aura on. You would go into battle, and specifically you would be looking for a way to, dish out as much damage as possible. And then when you needed it, you would swap over. So you wouldn't be utilizing it, directly in this manner. And that's kind of the main issue with Redemption, is it's really kind of an active skill. Like, it's something that you want to use after to restore your mana. Now, you could always switch to it. One of the things that I like to do is I like to have 2 or 3 auras and things like that on my scroll wheel here, so I can scroll between them, and then I can switch to Redemption, suck up some corpses, restore my mana, and then switch back to my main aura. In this way, Redemption is not really the kind of aura that you ever want to keep on all the time. And the reason for this is because, well, there are a lot of characters in the game that would like to utilize those corpses that you are sucking up. If you leave Redemption on all the time, it doesn't really have any effect for you. Your health will be full and your mana will be full all the time, but there will also be no corpses on the ground for the skeleton to turn into skeletons, for the the necromancer to turn into skeletons, the necromancer to turn into revives, the necromancer to turn into corpse explosions, the barbarian to find item and find potion on, and use Grimward on. You know, just in general, there are a lot of different characters in the game that utilize corpses for various reasons. And if you are the kind of character who has redemption on all the time, 24/7, no matter what, you are going to be sucking up every corpse within range, and you're going to basically be making every corpse character's life a living hell. So utilizing redemption when you need it is actually pretty cool, but keeping it on all the time in a group setting, it can be just absolutely nasty. Now, there are some added benefits to redemption, like, for instance, if you were to go and fight Neelathak in Halls of Pain, Neelathak uses Corpse Explosion. So when you fight Neelathak, you may be in a situation where you would rather prefer not to have Neelathak Corpse Explode everything all over you. And in this situation, having your redemption on makes it very likely that the corpses will be sucked up by the redemption ability before he's able to utilize them for his corpse explosion. And this, of course, can be a very beneficial thing because, you know, hey, who wants to get exploded? Nobody. Now, I know how to find Neelathak at the correct time every single time, and if you'd like to learn how to find Neelathak the correct way every single time, check out my video on that. It's actually on my channel. It literally is just called How to Find Neelathak Quickly. So if we're in here and we're doing some damage, we're trying to fight, we're trying to kill some targets, obviously, but as we're trying to kill some targets, Neelathak is going to start exploding corpses on us as they die, and we don't want that. So we want to be able to suck those corpses up. Now, as you can see, redemption that was with redemption not on. So with redemption not on, I'm literally just dead, and there's really not much in the way that I can do about it. Now, with redemption on, however, I will be in a much more advantageous position to protect myself from that kind of situation. So so let's go back in there, and this time we're going to go back in there with the redemption on. I think. There we go. And with a 91% chance to redeem a dead body, that should be a pretty healthy amount of probability there. Just to give you guys kind of like a brief overview of Neelathak without actually going into too much detail. The reason why you can find him every single time is because there are only 3 map variations. And once you learn the 3 map variations, you will have all of it down. There is also a very easy way to identify which direction he comes from, or which direction here he is, so you know which of the 4 directions he's in. And this is, again, because there are only 4 variations of this map, and there is a way for you to tell the difference between the variations. It would probably help if I actually spec this character for some kind of actual damage. Let me spec him properly, shall I? I'm pretty sure he has, like, the worst possible setup for equipment. I'm pretty sure the last thing I was showing off was thorns, if I remember correctly, which is probably why his everything was just set up horribly wrong. And let's give him a max holy shield. Let's go ahead and just make him a Zeal Paladin. And let's give him max redemption, why not? He does have a beast axe, so he already has fanaticism. And what else could we do for him? Just for lulls, we could put points into Defiance, so he gets extra defense from the Holy Shield, which is not something you normally do, but... Put our Zeal on, and put our redemption on. There we go. Now we actually have some damage. What do you know? It's almost as if putting in points is an important part of your character's ability to kill things. It's almost as if. So there's no 100% guarantee that we will suck the corpse up before Nilofac is capable of utilizing it for corpse explosion. But the more corpses that we get rid of in a situation like this, the absolute better. Just simply because we want those corpses off the battlefield as quickly as possible. And Redemption is essentially going to allow you to do that. As you can see, the corpses are in fact disappearing every single time the Redemption procs. But you notice that the Redemption doesn't just continuously proc, it's on a timer. So it's we could probably count it. So let's see. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. Of course it doesn't help because we don't have another corpse on the ground. Let's wait until we get at least 2 corpses on the ground, shall we? Alright, so 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, and of course he's corpse exploding the corpses before I have a chance to suck them up, which is of course not helpful to me. And this is the reason why sometimes when you think about Redemption possibly helping you out with a situation like this, it could backfire, because if he's spamming Corpse Explosion, your Redemption is on a interval timer, which means it may or may not suck up the corpses quicker than he's exploding them. But as you can see, though, it is taking a lot of the corpses off the battlefield, which does mean that we are a lot safer probably than we ever were before. And although he may still get a corpse explosion off here or there, we're able to stay a lot safer from his corpse explosions just in general. And of course, this is useful for other areas as well. Like for instance, in Hell difficulty, when you first get to the shamans, you know, the fallen are actually kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt. And it's nice to be able to suck up their corpses so that they don't respawn. You could also utilize Redemption at any point during the game to suck up those corpses and prevent certain types of monsters from respawning. Skeletons in the Canyon of Magi, you could use it to prevent them from respawning. You could also use it to prevent the let's see, fallen, skeletons, the undead monsters that are in the crystalline passage and stuff like that just simply get back up. You can summon them. You can suck up their corpses with Redemption. When you walk into the Pindle portal, believe it or not, all the monsters on the ground in the Pindle portal are technically dead, even though they do get back up. And despite the fact that they start out dead, even though they're not, you can, of course, suck them up. That's actually the funny thing about it. I come in here all the time and I utilize these for skeletons because, just in general, it's extremely easy to run in here really quickly before they start to stand up and just basically suck them up. And it's pretty funny. Now, the Phoenix Rune Word, which is what you can get Redemption from on a non-Paladin, is something that you can wear as a shield, and that will also give you the Redemption effect. But, big but here, be careful not to wear it around characters that need corpses, because you will severely handicap them. If you are sucking up corpses on a regular basis as like an Amazon or something, and there's a necromancer in your group or whatever, he's going to be pretty pissed that you've got Redemption running like 24/7. Or if you've got a Horker barbarian who spent his entire, fortune on, Alibabas and Scalder's Ires and all the types of magic find equipment that he could put on, this is probably not something that you want to do when you have one of those in the group, because obviously your Horker Barbarian's going to be pretty pissed that you're just Redemption sucking up all the corpses that he's trying so desperately to use find item on. Who can get good use out of Redemption? Well, honestly, just about anybody. Even as just a toggle ability, which is one of the beautiful things about Phoenix, is that if you can make yourself a Phoenix, you can put the shield on your offhand, you can hit the W key, swap to your Phoenix, cause your Redemption to turn on, suck up a couple corpses, heal yourself, and then swap back. And for that reason, Redemption is actually super, super useful in that situation. Same thing for a Paladin. Any of the Paladins, quite honestly, can get good use out of Redemption. But the thing that Redemption shines for is the characters that don't have ways of regenerating mana on their own. So like, for instance, if you're a Zeal Paladins don't tend to need Redemption. They have very low mana costs to begin with. There are very few Paladins that I would recommend Redemption for, and a Holy Bolt, Blessed Hammer, or Fist of the Heavens Paladin can get very good use out of Redemption, because none of these abilities have the chance to steal mana like a melee ability does. This basically would allow a hammered in to be able to regenerate his mana in a pinch. So, you know, cast off a couple hammers, you're out of mana, turn to redemption, refill your mana, switch back to concentration, and cast off a couple more hammers. Absolutely great swap to ability for the Paladin, just in general. Now, of course, you don't have to stack a bunch of points into it for it to be useful, but, you know, a couple here or there might not hurt if you've got extra points. I think most people probably just kind of go with whatever they can afford. It's not really a max it out kind of a skill. There are, of course, scepters that can spawn with redemption on it, which can make the entire process a lot easier on your skill point wallet. Like, for instance, you could potentially be using a Hand of Justice, and if you happen to find a Hand of Justice that happens to have, you know, plus 3 redemption on it, that would be an absolutely great base for maybe a Hand of Justice. You know, Caduceus, I believe is how you pronounce it. I always say Catechus. I like Catechus so much better. There is also a unique item. It's called the Redeemer Mighty Scepter that has 2 to 4 points of redemption on it, which is an interesting choice. I mean, when it comes to redemption, I don't think most people specifically build it, but I do think that most people will at least put 1 point into it or try to get their hands on it, just simply because it's a great defensive ability to be able to, number 1, restore your health, and number 2, restore your mana. And in a way that does not necessarily revolve around mana steal. So you don't have to be a melee paladin to restore your mana. The downsides, of course, as we went over, are that it kind of screws over any character in the game who is utilizing corpses to their advantage. The Druid has the Carrion Vines. The Necromancer, of course, has all the summoning abilities and the Corpse Explosion. The Assassin has the Death Sentry Explosion. The Barbarian has the Find Item, the Find Potion, and the Grim Ward. You know, the list goes on. There are a lot of characters who could utilize corpses for various purposes, including other paladins who may also be running Redemption, or other characters who might also be running Phoenix. And that's something else that you have to keep in mind, is that if you happen to have quite a few people who are utilizing corpses in a game, even if it's just 2 or 3 people utilizing Redemption, the corpses are going to be rather finite and hard to come by. And you won't be able to rely on Redemption that much, because quite honestly, it's not going to help you out. If you got 2 other paladins sucking up corpses, there's probably not going to be very many corpses left for you. As always, I do appreciate you watching my videos, and if you are looking to redeem yourself, do so in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and keep